Good evening, my name is Modi Operandus, and welcome to the preview for Quote. This is a game about destroying all of the world's knowledge. And if you can't tell from just the beginning here, the opening screenshot here, it's a very surreal aesthetic. This has been in development for a number of years by the company called Vonnegut. They're doing a special thing where they have what they're calling the first edition version, which is what we're playing right now, and that is going to be available for a couple days here, just until Friday, December 16th. And you can pick it up and you can access the alpha right away. And then after that, they're going to take it off the market and they'll release the later versions later, I'm guessing. But it is due for Steam in early 2017. That's the beta access. That'll be early access. It'll be available there. And then after that, it'll be on Steam sometime in 2017 for a full version, it looks like. So, as I said, this is a preview, so keep in mind it's not feature complete and there'll be changes and that kind of thing. But I figured we'll get into it and show a little preview off of what to expect from Quote and some of the charm it has and the surrealness of the entire thing here. So let's get into it here, and we'll start a brand new game. So let's start with the prologue here, because that really explains, well, everything here. And you really, in this game, you definitely need a prologue. So I'm going to let the game do the talking for us for a lot of the time here. There's narration going on, so I'm going to kind of shut up when it's going on. And it is kind of like Bastion in that way, in that it's going to do a lot of talking for us, but I'll get in my quips when I can. If I can get a word in edgewise sometimes here. All right, let's get into the game here. This is Novella.
God was not dead. The girl would change that soon enough. Novella had hoped for a more dramatic backdrop for her act of deicide, not this stark white place. Undeterred, the young warrior readied small but iron-hard fists for battle.
So yeah, this is Novella. She's on her way to kill a god, as you can hear from the deicide comment there. Can just basically punch and push as her two main moves, but there's other things we'll unlock as we play here. And there's this panel right here. Oops. Didn't mean to skip through that. We press E and then click that.
Novella
There we go.
glared at crude scribbles on the rock wall. The scroll told a tale she knew all too well. Bliss betrayed his brother Forgo, god of knowledge. Read the first inscription.
So Bliss is the god. This guy right here, actually. This is Bliss. And betrayed his brother Forgo.
She ventured far to save her people from the self-titled god of ignorance. Bliss was the dark god's name. A sick joke in a sick world.
So yeah, Bliss is the god of ignorance. And Forgo is the god of knowledge. Brothers. And as you can see, there's a lot of gas cans sitting here around.
He had purged all knowledge from the land, burned every book, emptied every head. Then he slept. But scraps of knowledge lived on. Its keepers raised mighty heroes and sent them to destroy him.
Here's another inscription.
He burned all the books in the world, and Forgo burned with them. Forgo, the benign but long dead deity her people worshipped. She was here in his name.
So Novella is kind of the champion of the people who fight for knowledge.
Bliss himself, somewhere deep within the fetid fortress, darkly amused. He knew she was here. Novella debated whether to grit her teeth or crack her knuckles in response. She opted for the latter, as one of Bliss's servants had appeared. Priests, he called them. Their eyes were dull, their steps slow, addled by scarring and whatever awful power controlled them. A mere distraction from her objective. Her small, iron-hard fists began to fly.
All right, so the narration kind of takes like nice little like deviations from the script. I like it. I like it when it happens. I don't know if it's intended or not, but I kind of like it. Nice. Okay, so this is the main combat. I mean, really, it's pretty simple. It gets more complex as we go here, but we're just gonna basically smash things with our fists. And these are some of Bliss's so-called priests. kind of wear similar hats to him.
Truly, Novella's power was unrivaled. From that day forth, anyone caught writing or reading was arrested and scoured. To scour a mind was to forcibly empty it of all knowledge, even of one's own identity and beliefs. Few people so much as spoke now, let alone knew what to do with a written word, a living hell.
So yeah, scouring is the power of Bliss. He clears your mind, and that is to remove all knowledge from it, basically, as he's done to the world here, basically. He's removed all books and knowledge from the world.
Amid the melee, Novella fancied she saw a familiar face. She shuddered in sudden realization. These priests were her predecessors, fellow heroes now fallen. Empty-headed slaves to Bliss.
So yeah, what that indicates there, these guys are our forebears. These are previous heroes that have tried to stop him, and look what became of them. They're just mindless drones now.
Knuckles from more scars. With a shove, the flames would take these ones.
Okay, so we're gonna try to push these guys into flames. We don't need to. We could just punch him to death. Okay, don't push me around. We're shoving back into the flames here. All of them go in. Everybody goes in. Everybody goes in the flames. Hey, the cleansing fire. Let's go. Come on. Make your way. There you go, guys. That one's burning. These guys are not quite yet there. Let's get them further in there. There we go. Get him further in there. There we go. All right. Light them up.
This was not the most heroic act, but the fire was cathartic, burning all trace of Bliss's reign.
All right. So yeah, again, we could have just punched those guys, but we didn't need to.
This, then, must be the place. Bliss's throne room. The heart of ignorance. Or so the now deafening, skin-shriveling laughter ahead would very much seem to suggest.
In the final tableau here.
Novella was shocked to find that the final scroll differed from the tale she had known all her life. And at last, the world was happy, it read. No argument, no division, no war. Peace through ignorance. The age of bliss, the age of reason. The tyrant believed himself a liberator, it seemed.
Yeah, so Bliss's take, basically, is that if you remove all knowledge, all you have is just pure empty mind. And that's safe and happy, basically. And here is the man himself.
Novella's vision swam as a wash of sickly light flooded over her. A hulking yet spindly shape moved slowly into focus. Sunken, glinting eyes, pennies in a well, talons to pierce any hide, a spine like blunted teeth. And that smile, that awful dead sheep smile, growing wider and wider. Bliss, the god of ignorance, on his throne, in his element, laughing. Novella finally opened her mouth and began to pronounce that the cruel god's reign was at an end. No sound escaped her now terrified lips. Impossibly, Bliss's titanic smile grew wider still. Novella snarled silently and ran to hit him full force across his bread-knife jaw.
All right, let's go give him what for with our tiny fists.
Attacking your god? We can't have that. I seek only to help you, not to harm you. I suppose I slept for too long. Wasn't around to remind people of what was right. No, knowledge leads to greed, division, and cruelty. You seek freedom, then become pure of thought. Allow me to demonstrate by granting you the greatest gift of all, a beautifully empty mind.
Bliss coolly snapped his fingers and, just like that, Novella, hero of knowledge was scarred, gone forever.
So there we go. Even Novella can't stand up to him. Oh, he got big all of a sudden. That was
my
weird.
newest slave. Your too wise presence makes me concerned that knowledge has somehow returned. Your new quest is to find the source of this wisdom and destroy it. Simple as that. Oh, and please beat the sense out of any intellectuals you find. They'll put you onto the right trail.
So, we have become a servant of Bliss, and that is the beginning of the game here.
His name is Runcible Mayutica Slabadigallian Tatterdemalian Gongoozle Borborigmus. Tatters for short. He will follow you wherever you go. He has, hunger for knowledge. Go save it from itself, Novella. Rid it of the scourge of knowledge. You shall be a hero after all.
And then we have our companion, our sidekick, Tatters. I don't know if we're his sidekick or the other way around, maybe. Yeah, he seems to be leading us, so we'll say that we're his sidekick, actually. All right, and that is the prologue. Gives us our impetus for the game here. We have a quest to destroy all knowledge now. Not by our own choosing, obviously, and it's going to be kind of interesting. I like the idea of a hero turned into a servant of the enemy. It's kind of interesting.
Welcome to paradise, a place of absolute stupidity. At least that's the plan. Every mind scoured.
All around was calm, eerily so. Novella became aware of an odd weight in her hands. A book.
Aren't I just awful? The icon of knowledge used as a tool of ignorance. I call it the Book of Bliss.
The book was heavy as stone and bore no words. It wasn't for reading, but to beat Bliss's foes into submission. Tatters, the shambling bird thing, had also joined Novella in this lush new place.
I should also mention that wherever the Book of Bliss goes, Tatters here will follow. I'd say like a dog with a stick, but frankly that would be an insult to dogs.
Tatters was too busy gnawing off one of his own arm feathers to take notice of Bliss's jibe.
You are tethered to this book too. Throw it elsewhere, and it will pull you back to it. You may well find this useful.
So we have the Book of Bliss now, which is just kind of a big, heavy, empty book. And Tatters here, our buddy. Okay, so this is clearly a statue of us. We were kind of a big deal here. This is kind of a big deal that Novella's now working for Bliss.
Oh, a statue to you? You were these half-wits' hero once. They believed you would save them. Well, you will, but not in the way they think. Not now you've woken cuddly Uncle Bliss.
The sandpapery scrape of Bliss rubbing his hands together echoed around Novella's vacated skull.
So, speaking of the vacated skulls, if we press 1 here, we can actually get a look at that. Novella keeps quotes inside her head. A complete quote is represented by a full sack. Each dangerous cave will have a book inside. Inhabitants will fight to protect it. Find a quote from the cave's book to be protected by Bliss. Without a full quote, the fight will be much harder. A complete quote will unlock side quests. Click on a sack to see its contents. So, this is the sacks in our mind, our empty mind here. As you can see, our brain is tiny, our head is huge. But these sacks here will be filled with quotes eventually. And these will give us a protection, basically. It'll make the caves and challenges easier as we get these things. I don't know if it's to scale difficulty possibly, where you can avoid getting the quotes and get a harder challenge, or if it's just, necessary. But we'll get into this. We'll get a quote in just a moment here. Along with that, if we press 3, we get a look inside of the book here, which is also a look inside of Tatters. And yeah, that sounds weird, but it definitely is. Tatters keeps books inside his tummy. A book has a set amount of power. You can spend power to unlock new abilities. You can spend the power on new abilities. Digest multiple books to have enough power to unlock more advanced abilities. Click on the ribs to see which ability can be unlocked. You can also see how much power is required to unlock each. So we have several different upgrades we can get for Novella here. And we can do things like just increasing punch damage, or give altogether new powers, such as Bliss dash ability, where we can throw the book and basically dash to it and cause damage with it. We need a couple power to unlock these things. Power is gained through playing through the game and getting books, which are just kind of the goal for each cave. Okay, so with that in mind, let's get our first piece of fragments here. Letters scattered around the world for a quote to reduce the book's deadly power. Progress scores of quote can be checked by looking at the sacks inside Novella's head. Yep. If you enter a building without a completed quote, only the most skilled will survive. Yeah, so we have to be very, very good or very, very wise. And I don't think it's wisdom necessarily, because Bliss wants us to collect these things, it seems like. So I don't think we're actually gaining any wisdom from these quotes. And we'll see what these quotes are in just a moment, but we also have this.
This is exactly what I worried about. That's a shrine to Forgo, long dead god of knowledge, you see. By my laws, everyone here should be perfectly stupid, savage even. Certainly not smart enough to construct this. Clearly, someone still worships knowledge, which means there's surely a rebellion in the offing.
So, like any tyrant, Bliss fears organization of the people, knowledge, and people bettering their chances against him. All right, so we got this one right here now. This sack was just completed with the quote we just got. The feverish library whose chance volumes are constantly in danger of changing into others, like a delirious divinity. That's the quote we get. That's our quote. And this will provide us a little bit easier time in the upcoming cave, which is right ahead.
Inside Novella's mind, as once nonsensical fragments were assembled into a quote.
Trust me, that awful, powerful quote is far better off with us than loose in the world.
Novella's toothsome puppet master was quietly gloating.
We can talk to Janae here. Speak to characters who, with speech bubbles over their heads, they may offer information, requests, or trinkets. So, Janae. Servant, we foresaw your arrival, but what dreadful timing. Knowledge is returning. Its horrific effects can be seen just beyond this door. A book, pristine and guarded. It must be destroyed.
Mrs. Priest gestured towards a tumble-down dwelling behind him. More of a cave, really.
All right, let's head into our first cave and find our first book. Now, as he said, you have the quote, normal difficulty. If we did not have the quote, this would have a little warning here saying it's way too difficult. And that's not necessarily true. We could potentially try one without the quote and see how this goes, but we have the quote for this one, so we'll do it with it.
Darkness encircled a book at the cave's rear, though just for a moment it had looked like light.
A book! Forgo's foul legacy still spoiling my verdant land. Feed it to Tatters, Novella, and seal away its evil forever.
Novella felt droplets of spittle splatter against her hind brain as Bliss bellowed wildly.
So we need to feed books to Tatters, as you saw with the little menu we're in before here, and we have another friend to talk to. Okay, the Book of Bliss can be thrown wherever your cursor is by pressing space. Release space to teleport Novella to the book's location and retrieve it. Tatters will follow. Keep holding space or shift to leave the book where it is. Tatters will remain close to it. So we can send Tatters across to get the book, or we can follow it by letting go of space. Remember, Tatters can only eat a book if he can walk to it. And if you want to leave, you can only do so if Tatters can reach the door. So we can't leave him behind. We need to, what is this? Brand. Did not just say, oh, this guy, Brandy. Brandy, nice. So, look, what can we do here? Let's see. We can throw the book, first of all. Let's see what that looks like. It goes wherever my cursor is pointing, as far as my cursor is pointing. Nice way to teleport around the room and knock over Tatters with it, or we can teleport across gaps. And so we can do this, and then Tatters will come over by us. Hey, bud, come on through. And if we leave it and hold space, Tatters will go and get it, and he'll stay there. And we can use that to make him go to this thing, for instance. And then we can go back. Well, doesn't look like he's heavy enough, but it'll come into play with further puzzles later on, I'm sure. Feed books to Tatters to rid the world of knowledge and please Bliss. Acquire new power by destroying books inside Tatters' tummy with the digest button. So what's interesting is that he's not really a bird, first of all, here. He's just wearing a little hat. He is a weird creature, yes. Very, very weird creature. So the books go inside of Tatters here, and we can consume these books by digesting them and turning them to power for ourselves. You know, I thought maybe we don't want to do that. Maybe we don't want to digest the books. If we do want to preserve knowledge, maybe we shouldn't be turning them into power for ourselves. But then again, sometimes you just gotta consume books. We don't have enough power for anything right now. It requires 2. We only have 1 power with this first book here, but we should have more soon after we get through another cave or 2. So let's exit out of this cave here and see what else this chapter brings. All right, find the source of corruption. Other reason for the fallen trees. Okay, let's talk to Maddie here.
Dressed in a farmer's rags, this woman was dragging a lonely furrow in the ground.
So we have some of the inhabitants here of this area, and they're not very smart, as you can see, obviously. That's part of Bliss's design.
As Novella advanced, the thick forest all around her began to thin, replaced by rough stumps.
What's going on here? These ignoramuses should barely know how to snap a twig, let alone fell a tree. I smell the stench of knowledge. I sense rebellion.
Okay, so they've grown too smart, and now they've caught the attention of Bliss here by cutting down trees, and now we need to investigate.
Scratching, scratching, endlessly scratching. Fleas leaped from hair to hair like a circus. The hunched fellow spun in circles as Novella approached, like an overexcited spaniel greeting its master.
I'm gonna keep my distance from the fleas guy. Sorry, Maddie. I'm gonna steer clear of you. So we'll find these little ink globulates here, and I believe those are indicating a path for us. There's this dead bird over here, and I can't tell if it's stone or carving. It kind of looks like a wooden carving. But these eggs look very, very real. So yeah, we can get around even quicker by using this using the book to throw around. I like that. We can move that quickly around here, but we gotta make sure we don't miss any of the fragments for quotes. Let's keep going up this way here. And for the sake of speed, I'm gonna skip through a little bit here. Let's jump around a little bit. That way we don't have to like try to circumnavigate anything here and try to get around those curves and that kind of thing. Kind of nice. We're about halfway to a quote right now. This looks like the other direction we could have gone before. Is there another direction down here? No, it doesn't look like it. This is where we got the first part of the quote here. And this was the other path. This actually has some interesting speedrun potential too, with all the way you can skip different spots, possibly. Trinkets are obtained by interacting with objects or people. Trinkets can often have a unique effect on Novella. They can become combined. They can also be combined with to solve a puzzle. Let's take what's here. We have a potted, sweet-smelling flower. We'll put it in here. And we can only hold 2 trinkets at any time. Trinkets will often have an effect on Novella or Tatters. Trinkets combined with other objects in the game, when combined with the trinket, they'll be gone forever. Novella can drop the trinket at any time. To drop a trinket, simply click on the trinket image. To combine a trinket with an object, select the combine icon from the menu and click the trinket image. More on that later. Yeah. So this one gives us a 30% chance of 110% damage gain on impact. And they all have a kind of a quote attached to them. So sprinkled on the foul dung. It's an overpowering lovely scent. Sweet smelling flower. So the first of our many trinkets we'll collect here. And we have to find a spot to use that basically. Or we can hang on to it. Now it's a kind of a thing between either advancing the game or using the trinkets that we have. Letty?
The unwashed man ignored Novella and muttered bitterly to himself.
Spent all day carving hundreds of wooden blocks, and they still want me to be their bloody cart horse.
Carving? Blocks? Cart horse? I sense skullduggery. Investigate further, Novella.
Alright, we have something afoot here.
That explains the felled trees. Letter blocks for a printing press, which means free speech. Blasphemy! In an ideal world, I'd burn it on the spot. But we need to find the print works, and that will require subterfuge. My nose is tingling with bog water. I believe that our culprit is hiding out in the swamps.
And we found another trinket sitting here. A magnifying glass. The magnifying glass caught the sun burning. Tatters movement speed modifier is 1.1, so it makes them a little bit faster. Not much faster. The bonuses here aren't tremendous. I mean, we got an extra 10% chance of damage. And that was about it. I think our game locked up here, unfortunately, though. Yeah. So early access, folks. It happens sometimes. Okay, we're gonna have to save and reload here, I think.
Now welcome to paradise.
Well, with that, we're gonna have to catch back up to where we were before. So I think what we'll do is I will break off this episode here. I'll be back for another one very, very soon. If you guys are interested in the game here, let me know. It is an interesting one for sure. I think it has promise. It is not going to be available completely right now, but if you were good enough to get it on itch.io early, you can definitely pick it up right now if you watch this video today and until Friday. Otherwise, just stay tuned to Steam and itch.io, and I'm sure you'll see it again available at some point in the future. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll be back for another episode very, very soon. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time for more. Have a good night.